Okay, so I want you to picture a scene for a second. And honestly, it feels like the opening shot of some kind of supernatural thriller. You're deep underground, it's dark, it's damp, it's, ancient. You're looking at a prison.
Okay.
But the inmates aren't really people, not anymore. They're spirits. And then suddenly, the doors blow open, and this savior figure walks in.
There's a very vivid image, super cinematic. It grabs you right away.
Right. And he's there to make this big announcement to this very specific, very old group of ghosts.
It's wild.
It sounds like a Hollywood script, maybe something out of a fantasy blockbuster, but we are actually looking at one of the most confusing, most debated, and frankly weirdest passages in all of Christian theology.
Oh, it is. It really is. It's the kind of text that scholars have been, well, fighting over for centuries. People have written entire dissertations just on the grammar of these few sentences.
I believe it.
But usually when we talk about this kind of stuff, ancient Greek, the afterlife, spirits in prison, we expect the conversation to stay firmly in the past.
Exactly. Dusty scrolls, candlelight, people in robes.
Yeah, a history lesson.
But that is not what we're doing today. Today's deep dive is, well, it's a collision. We're taking that spooky theological mystery and smashing it right into the world of artificial intelligence.
And YouTube algorithms.
And the chaos of a family reunion during the Lunar New Year.
It sounds completely impossible to connect those things, doesn't it? A ghost story from 2,000 years ago and a modern YouTube strategy.
It does, but we have a source today that pulls it all together. We are analyzing a talk by Pastor Huzi Cheng.
Also known as Pastor Beard Strong.
Yes, Beard Strong.
Which I have to say is a fantastic nickname. It implies a certain ruggedness, right?
It really does. I kind of need to know if the beard is actually strong, but the source didn't specify. Anyway, this recording is from February 19th, 2026, so we're looking at a very recent, very modern take on all these ancient ideas.
And the setting here is just crucial. This isn't just a normal Sunday sermon from a pulpit. It's the third day of the Lunar New Year in Taiwan.
The Spring Festival.
Yes!
Which is huge. For any of you listening who haven't experienced it, this is not just like a long weekend.
No, not at all. Think Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve all rolled into one massive week of eating and family.
The whole country shuts down.
It does. Everyone is off work. The cities kind of empty out. Families are traveling. It is the time for rest. It's the one time a year where doing nothing is, socially acceptable.
It's encouraged, even.
Yeah.
And yet, Pastor Hugh takes this moment when everyone is in a food coma and watching variety shows to talk about something incredibly heavy.
The deadline of death.
The deadline of death, and how that deadline should force us to change how we use technology right now. The theme is literally action now.
It's such a fascinating pivot. He goes from a ghost story to what is essentially a productivity hack for the soul.
He's taking the lull of the holiday and just injecting it with this high-octane urgency. So our mission today is to trace that line. We need to understand why he thinks there are no second chances in the afterlife, and then how that belief drives him to become a YouTuber in his 60s.
So shall we start with the prison?
Let's do it. The text he's analyzing is 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 18 through 20. So walk us through the controversy here, because on the surface, it almost sounds hopeful.
It does. So the text describes Jesus, after his death, going to preach to the spirits in prison.
Okay.
And it's very specific that these spirits were people who were disobedient way, way back in the days of Noah, before the flood.
Right, the ancient world.
The ancient world.
Okay, so immediately I see the problem, or maybe the opportunity, depending on how you look at it. If Jesus is preaching to people who are already dead, does that mean they can still be saved?
That is the million-dollar question. It's what theologians call the second chance theory.
And I can see why that would be popular. I mean, it's a comforting thought.
Extremely comforting.
Yeah.
The idea is that death isn't a locked door. It's more like a turnstile.
A waiting room.
Yeah, a waiting room. If you messed up in life, or maybe you just never heard the message, perhaps Jesus shows up in the afterlife and gives you one more shot.
It's like a video game. You get a press X to try again screen.
Exactly. And for centuries, people have looked at this one verse and thought, well, there it is. If he preached to the spirits in prison, that must be what happened.
A do-over.
A do-over. But Pastor Hugh, he is not buying it. Not at all.
He shuts that down pretty hard.
He does. And what I really appreciate is that he doesn't just shout no or say because the book says so. He uses logic. He sort of acts like a detective. And his first clue is the audience. He asks a really simple question. If God were going to offer a general second chance to everyone who died without believing, why is the text so ridiculously specific?
Right. It says spirits who were disobedient in the days of Noah. It doesn't say all the spirits who ever lived.
Precisely. It seems so weirdly arbitrary. I mean, imagine if the afterlife rules were, sorry everyone from the Middle Ages of the 20th century, no second chance for you guys. But if you happen to ignore Noah's Ark in 3000 BC, you're in luck.
You get a promo code.
You get a promo code. It just doesn't make sense as a universal policy. It's too niche.
It's like a loophole that only applies to one zip code in all of human history.
Right. So logically, Pastor Hunatlo argues that this cannot be a general second chance clause. It has to be something else.
I think he goes deeper.
And he goes deeper. He pulls out the magnifying glass and he looks at the actual Greek word that's used for preached.
I love when we get into the linguistics, because the words really matter. And preach, in English, it usually means trying to convert someone. Like, here's why you should join my team.
Right. If I say I'm preaching to you, I'm trying to persuade you of something. But in the original text, the word is caruso.
Caruso, okay.
And that has a very different flavor. It doesn't mean to persuade. It means to proclaim as a herald.
A herald. Like a town crier.
Exactly like a town crier. Think of a guy standing on a box in a medieval town square. He's not there to debate you. He's not handing out pamphlets.
He's not trying to sell you something.
No. He is announcing a fact. The king has won the war. The new law is in effect. It's a proclamation.
So it's a status update. It's not an invitation.
That is the key distinction. That's the whole argument. Pastor Hughes says that when Jesus went to these spirits in prison, he wasn't holding a revival meeting. He wasn't passing around an altar call.
He was doing a victory lap.
Victory lap. He was going down there to say, I won. The game is over.
And to the spirits who thought they'd gotten away with it, the ones who ignored Noah, that would not be good news.
No, it would be a confirmation of their judgment. It's the closing of the book.
That is a much darker, much more final interpretation of that verse.
It is. And to seal the deal, Pastor Hugh brings in another text from Hebrews 9.27.
Oh yeah, I have that note here. It is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes judgment.
He calls it the finality argument. He is crystal clear on this. In his view, there is no purgatory loop. There is no respawn. Once you cross that threshold, the books are closed.
Okay, so we've established the theology. According to this source, the second chance theory is, well, it's a myth. The door locks at death.
Right.
Now, usually, this is where a theology lecture would just kind of end. You know, you define the terms, you parse the Greek, you feel smart, and you go home.
But for Pastor Hugh, this is just the warm-up. This is only the foundation for his real point.
Right. He pivots to the so what question, and he actually warns his listeners about getting stuck in the academic part. He calls it the trap of debate.
Which is pretty ironic, considering he just spent 20 minutes debating the verse.
It is. But I get his point. He's saying, look, we can argue about Noah's ghosts all day long, but if it doesn't change how you live your life today, it's just high talk.
It's just intellectual entertainment. He's calling out the danger of using theology as a distraction from what's real.
Because if his interpretation is right, if there is no second chance,
then the implications are, well, they're terrifying.
It creates an emergency.
A total emergency. If there is no second chance after death, then sharing the good news, or whatever truth you hold, with the people who are living isn't just a hobby.
It's a rescue mission. It's an ambulance ride.
Right. He uses this really interesting phrase to explain why we can't wait. He talks about people needing time to chew on the message.
That really stood out to me too. He says, the living need time to digest.
It's such a human observation, isn't it? We tend to think, oh, I'll tell my brother about my faith eventually, or I'll have that serious conversation with my dad when he's older.
We put
it off. But Pastor Hugh is saying, you can't just force-feed truth to someone on their deathbed and expect it to work.
Right. Big ideas, they take time to process. I mean, think about any major shift in your own worldview. Did it happen in 5 seconds?
Of course not. No.
Yeah.
You got to think about it, doubt it, test it, wrestle with it.
So if you wait until the last minute, or worse, if you just assume they'll get a chance in the afterlife, you're actually failing them.
You're denying them a time they need to actually understand.
So the title of the talk, Action Now, isn't just some catchy slogan. It's a direct response to that no second chance theology.
Exactly. Urgency is the logical output of finality. If the deadline is real, you stop procrastinating.
And speaking of not procrastinating, This is where the deep dive takes a left turn that I honestly did not see coming. We go from ancient Greek verbs and deathbed scenarios to the gospel refrigerator.
Gospel refrigerator, yes.
I need you to explain this to me, because when I hear a pastor dealing with ancient texts, I do not picture a guy who's obsessed with YouTube algorithms.
It says a lot about his character, I think. In the source, Pastor Hugh reveals his personal timeline. He says he has about 5 or 6 years left before he plans to retire.
That is a very specific window. He's literally counting down.
He is. And most people, when they get within 5 years of retirement, they start coasting. They safeguard their pension. They minimize their workload.
You start looking at brochures for cruises.
Exactly. But Pastor Hugh says he plans to pour all his remaining energy into digital media.
So he's ramping up. He's flooring the gas pedal as he heads towards the finish line.
He specifically mentions his YouTube channel, The Gospel Refrigerator, and a podcast or program he just calls PC. It's been running for almost 4 years.
I love the name Gospel Refrigerator. The source doesn't explicitly explain it, but let's just unpack that metaphor. What does a refrigerator do?
It preserves things. It keeps food fresh so it can be eaten later.
And it makes that food accessible, right? You can open the fridge at 3 in the morning if you're hungry.
That's exactly how I wrote it. It's about preservation and access.
Yeah.
You put the food, the truth, the message in there so it's available whenever someone happens to get hungry.
Which connects perfectly to his view on AI.
It does.
So how does a pastor in 2026 view AI? Because a lot of religious leaders, and frankly leaders in general, are terrified of it.
Right, they think it's fake or it's going to replace human connection.
Yeah.
Pastor Hugh sees it as a tool for foresight. He argues that physical bodies have limits. He's incredibly practical about this. He talks about stamina, he talks about geography.
He can't be everywhere at once.
Exactly. There are places he cannot go physically. There are hours he cannot work because he has to sleep. He's getting older. He can't run around like he used to.
But the refrigerator doesn't sleep.
The refrigerator never sleeps. He says that if you put the content out there, if you use these tools, the message can travel to places you will never, ever visit.
And he specifically mentions truth seekers who might be up scrolling on their phones at 2 in the morning.
People who would never in a million years walk into a church.
Right. People who are allergic to the institution or just scared of walking into a building, but they're hungry for answers. He wants to be on their screen when that happens.
It's almost like he's trying to solve the problem of the prison we talked about at the beginning.
How so?
He can't go preach to the dead. That door's locked. So he's going to use AI and YouTube to make sure he reaches as many of the living as possible while he is still alive.
And even after he's gone.
And even after he's gone. That's the real power of a digital footprint.
Yeah.
It outlives the messenger.
So if you believe the stakes are eternal and you believe your time is limited, then using the most efficient scaling tool available, AI, YouTube is the only rational choice.
It's high-tech evangelism, and it's fueled by that ancient sense of urgency.
Yeah.
He's basically saying, I have 5 years to build a machine that will keep talking after I'm gone.
Which is a pretty profound way to look at a YouTube channel. It's legacy building in the cloud.
It is.
Now, I want to ground this again. We've been talking about global reach and AI and algorithms, but the source material itself is actually very intimate. We mentioned it's the Lunar New Year.
The Spring Festival, yes.
And for anyone listening who isn't familiar with the cultural vibe, this is a time that is intensely focused on family, but it can also be, well, chaotic.
Very. It's loud, it's busy, there are fireworks, and Pastor Hugh gives us this little glimpse into his own living room. He mentions he's in Taipei with his wife. He calls her Shimu, which is the traditional title for a pastor's wife.
And the kids are back in town.
Yeah, one came up from Taichung, the other lives in Taipei. So the whole band is back together.
And they're doing the normal stuff, visiting friends, eating.
Classic reunion scenario.
But, and this is where the conflict comes in, he has a bit of a bone to pick with how most of us spend this time.
He does. He says, look, it's great to eat and drink and play. He's not anti-fun. But if that's all we do, we are completely wasting the opportunity.
He introduces this tension he feels between his role as a father and his role as a pastor.
And he believes those two roles shouldn't be separate. He thinks a father should take on a pastoral role at home. He uses the word admonition.
Which is such a strong word, admonition. That's not, hey kids, how's work going? That's, sit down, I have a warning for you.
It implies authoritative counsel. It's heavy.
Yeah.
He believes this family time is the perfect window, maybe the only window, to really guide the younger generation.
And he's not talking about career advice.
No, not at all. Or asking when they're going to give him grandkids. He's talking about their spiritual state. He wants to remind them to make Jesus the Lord of the house. He's worried about their servant in the church.
He wants to make sure the spiritual inheritance is secure.
Yes.
It connects right back to that fear of no second chance, doesn't it?
100%. If you love your kids and you genuinely believe that death is the final deadline, you don't just feed them dumplings. You feed them the truth.
You have to.
You have to, because if you don't do it now, when everyone is sitting right there together, when are you going to do it?
It's intense. I mean, can you imagine being at that dinner table past the soy sauce and also, let's talk about the eternal state of your soul?
But it's consistent.
It is consistent. He's living out his own sermon in his own living room.
And that's the sign of a really coherent worldview. Whether he's talking about spirits from Noah's time or subscribers on YouTube or his own son and daughter sitting across the table, the driving force is exactly the same. Time is short, make it count.
Okay, so let's pivot to you, the listener, because Pastor Hugh doesn't just leave this as a lecture about his own life. He gives some really practical advice for how to navigate this action now lifestyle.
He does. And the first thing is this concept of spiritual space.
I really liked this part because holidays, or just modern life in general, can feel incredibly crowded.
Physically crowded, mentally crowded, so much noise.
Yes. And he suggests that even in the middle of the chaos of the Spring Festival, the fireworks, the mashang, the traffic, you have to carve out a spiritual space, a little pocket of quiet.
Otherwise, you just get drained. You come back from your vacation, needing another vacation.
Been there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He wants you to connect with the divine during the chaos, not just wait until it's all over. And to help with that, he poses 3 specific questions for self-reflection.
And these are really worth reading out.
They are. The first one is a direct challenge based on the scripture we started with. Can this difficult scripture make us contemplate life and death?
Which is basically asking, are you just reading these words to feel smart, or are you actually feeling the weight of your own mortality?
Are you feeling the deadline? The second question connects to the family aspect. Since death ends the chance for salvation, can we spend more meaningful time sharing truth with family?
Moving from small talk to big talk, that takes a lot of courage.
It does. And then the third one is the legacy question. Have you set specific spiritual goals to complete before you pass away?
That one just stops you in your tracks.
It really does. I mean, most of us have career goals. I want to get that promotion, or financial goals. I want to retire with $1 million. But spiritual goals.
A spiritual to-do list before you die, that's rare.
It is. But it aligns perfectly with his own life. Remember, he set his own goal. In these next 5-6 years, build the digital ministry. He's not asking you to do something he isn't doing himself.
He's asking for intentionality. He wants you to treat your spiritual life with the same project management mindset you would use at work. Set a goal, set a deadline, execute.
And speaking of work, he also touches on the post-holiday blues.
He knows his audience so well. He knows that right after this recording airs, everyone is going back to the office. The party is over.
And that can be a really depressing moment. The Sunday scaries, but for a whole year.
It is, but he reframes it. He prays that his listeners will return recharged, but not just physically rested. He wants them to use prayer to handle workplace difficulties.
You mentioned setbacks, right?
He does. He acknowledges that work is hard. Your boss might be difficult, the projects might fail, but instead of just grinding through it, he suggests using that spiritual wisdom we talked about to navigate all that stress.
It's a very holistic view.
Right.
Faith isn't just for Sunday, and it isn't just for the afterlife. It's for Monday morning when your email inbox is full and you're totally stressed out.
It's a tool for resilience.
Yeah.
So let's just zoom out and look at the whole picture here. We have covered a lot of ground today.
We started in a prison for spirits in the ancient world,
Then we realized that prison implies a deadline, no second chances,
which creates an emergency.
which then drives a pastor to embrace AI and YouTube to scale his message before he retires.
And finally, it all lands right back at the dinner table with his kids, turning a holiday meal into a moment of deep mentorship.
It's a remarkable thread, and I think what's so fascinating here, regardless of where you stand on the theology, whether you believe in hell or the afterlife or none of it, is the mechanism of urgency.
That really is the key takeaway. We often think of urgency as stress, panic, running around like a headless chicken.
Right, everything's on fire.
But for Pastor Hugh, Urgency looks like focus. It looks like clarity. He's not running around screaming. He's systematically building a gospel refrigerator.
He's having calm, difficult conversations with his kids. He's learning new software.
It's purposeful urgency. He knows the clock is ticking, so he stops doing the stuff that doesn't matter. He eliminates the noise.
And that brings us to a thought I've been mulling over since we reviewed this source. It's about that 5-6 year timeline he mentioned.
His countdown.
His countdown. He treats those years as his last active phase. And because he sees that hard deadline so clearly, he's shipping the product. He's getting it done.
It forces prioritization, doesn't it? You can't do everything in 5 years, so you only do the most important things.
So here's the question for you listening right now. If you knew your current active phase, whether that's your career, your role as a parent, an artistic project, had a hard deadline of 5 years, would you still be doing what you're doing today?
Would you still be arguing about the little nuances? Would you be scrolling? Or would you start building your own version of the gospel refrigerator, whatever that is for you?
Would you be debating the theory, or would you be taking action now?
That is the question.
Something to chew on and digest as you head back to your own version of the workplace.
Thanks for diving in with us. See you next time.